طيبوا وفاءكم بذكر محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا وصاحب نعمتنا أبي القاسم محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين، واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين من حين عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. وأما بعد، فقد قال الله في محكم كتابه: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. This is a verse from Surah Ar-Rum, chapter 30, verse number 21. عظم الله أجوركم وأجورنا بمصاب أبي عبد الله الحسين. رزقنا الله وإياكم زيارة قبره في الدنيا، ورزقنا الله وإياكم زيارته لنا ونحن في قبورنا، ورزقنا الله وإياكم شفاعته يوم القيامة. In light of the verse that I recited, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ayat. And in Quran is a gathering, and it's a bunch of ayat, if you will. But there are two kind of ayat. There is the ayat al-Qur'aniyya, and it is something that people recite on a daily basis, and they are called the ayat al-Qur'aniyya. Now, another word, another term for signs, if Allah wants to use a sign, Quran calls them an ayah. So this word, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, it is not the verse, but it's a sign. The word means in this ayah, in the sequence of events, this meaning is not a verse. This meaning is a sign. The ayah says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, and one of the signs of Allah, أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُمْ, Allah has created. And this is an issue that Allah addresses everyone. Allah doesn't say for the ladies, or the ayah doesn't talk to the men or the women. Allah just says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُمْ. Now if I recite it, that means Allah has created for me. And if the females recite it, it's the same. It applies to both. Min anfusikum. This is something that we hear a lot. That a lot of people say women are created from one of the ribs. After Allah created Adam, Allah wanted to create a companion for Adam. After Adam was bored and he was sad, and Allah asked him, what would you want? And he says, I would like to have a companion. And Allah waited until Adam fell asleep, and Allah, took one of Adam's ribs and created a Hawa. Bunch of pointless words, sentences, books have been written about this. This is absolutely pointless. Allah creates Adam out of nothing, but when it's time to create a female for Adam, Allah is incapable. Wal-iyadhu billah, Allah is incapable of creating a female for Adam, just as the same way that He created Adam. You know, it's the duplication is not the problem. Its initiation is the problem. For anybody to come with the idea, this is the major breakthrough. But then to duplicate it, it's very easy. In lame terms, in our everyday life, the first people to create cars were considered the major engineers, the people who invented something new. But nowadays, it's easy to create a car because it's already been created. There's no need to steal parts from another car to install it in this car, right? If we as human beings won't do this, won't steal parts from another car to put it in a new invention, why would Allah wait? And not just that, wait until Adam falls asleep, as if Adam has any control. If Allah said, "Ya Adam, give me your rib," Adam will start a fight with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is absolutely pointless. Allah created for Adam, created Hawa. Now, this nafs, a lot of people say, some people say nafs. What does it mean to have nafs? In my personal understanding, and of course I don't do tafsir al-Quran, I barely know how to read Quran, let alone do tafsir al-Quran. But this, people, when you recite things, you'll understand things differently than anybody else. So this nafsiyya, وَخَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُم, it's not out of the same soul. Some people, if I recall correctly, use this ayah to say, yes, this is the reason why we say Allah created Hawa out of the rib from Adam. This nafsiyya, خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُم, meaning Allah created out of the same, what would you call it? From the same type. That's why you see humans are married to humans, jinn are married to jinn, and the rest of the animal kingdom, they're all married to their own jinns, their own nafs. That's why you say this horse is the same as this horse. Nafs al-shay, they say nafs. That means they're from the same, they're the same brand, they're the same type. That's what it means. خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُم. Allah didn't create my zawj. And by the way, Quran does not call zawja. There is no word in Arabic, in the Quran. There's no place, I think, if I recall correctly, there's no place where Quran calls the female partner in a marriage a zawja. Quran never calls it. Quran calls it وَامْرَأَةُ نُوحٍ وَامْرَأَةُ لُوطٍ وَامْرَأَةُ فِرْعَوْنَ imra'a. And in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, قُلْنَا يَا آدَمْ أُدْخُلْ أَنْتَ وَزَوْجُكَ. Zawjuka, that doesn't mean it, was Hawa a male. According to our standards nowadays, we call the male a zawj and the female a zawja. No. A zawj is the partner. Your partner, your double. And that's why, especially like in Iraqi terminology, when, especially for you guys, when you change a set of tires, you go on zoj tayarat. Zoj, that means two, plural. There's more than one, not one, at least two. So this, خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُم, meaning from the same type as Allah created Adam, the same, whatever it took to create Adam, Allah created Hawa, salamullahi alayha. خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُم أَزْوَاجًا. What is the point? Quran doesn't just go and just recite and put stories together and try to make, basically make happen, or what they call make work, just so we can fill the Quran with stories. What is the point? Why would Allah create that? And Allah, in this beautiful ayah, and all of Quran is beautiful, in this ayah, it talks about what it is that marriage gets to. Here in the States, we hear the term, they say it is the calm before the storm, right? You guys heard that term? The calm, you get a sense of calmness, and then the storm hits. But in this ayah, it talks about the calm after the storm. Why would anybody care about the calm before the storm? In reality, everyone that is single, almost everyone, when they're single, they're living in somewhat of a turmoil, and you get to see that, especially with the young guys. Allah yastar alayhum. One day they have a haircut, that's different. Next day they have a mohawk. Another day they have a scissor cut. Another, you go after a while, they have long hair. They're not set. They're not sure what to do with their lives because they're living this turmoil. Their life is going up and down. They're unsettled. They have not settled. And even in the States, they use, have you settled down? When are you going to get married and settle down? What is this settle? This settle is what Quran 1433 years ago calls لِتَسْكُنُوا سُكُون هُدُوء, quiet, calm. This is what Quran calls, and nowadays people use the same term to settle. So, and that's what, you see it. Those of you who lived here in the States, people like me, we lived here, we're not even sure. My father, rahmatullah alayh, used to say, are you going to make up your mind? Just leave your hair, one haircut for 1 month. Just so I know what you look like. I'm not sure. One day I wear a hat, one day I don't, one day I have a long hair, short hair, bald. I'm in turmoil. But after people get married, usually people just settle down. Some, they lose some hair, but people in general, they calm down. You see, their decisions are very wise because they have outgrown, they've gone into a step. They have taken this one leap forward to basically stop all the childish and all the so-called unimportant things and very lame decisions that they made. And that's why if we ever get in a gathering, especially guys my age, and if we know each other, we will talk about nadman, we did this because we were stupid. This is what we used to, we use that as an excuse. We weren't sure. We were not adult enough. We were not mature enough. But mashallah, once people get older, once people are more grown up, they make mature decisions. That's why, there were times where people used to question, how can I'm making, $9, $10 an hour, and I'm barely living on my own, and I'm living with my parents, and this money barely makes it. I barely live from one paycheck to one paycheck. And my father pays the rent, and my father buys the food, and my father does this, and I'm making $10 an hour. MashaAllah, you see them get married, they move on their own, they have their own apartment, and they're still making $10 an hour, but they have their own home, they pay for their own rent, they pay for their own food, they pay for more important things because they have reached a point of maturity that it is time to make mature decisions. No longer do they decide, I'm going to go out. I'm just giving a reason. I'm trying to explain to you what it is that at least we, people my age, people who lived here, this is what we went through. And inshallah, for you, the youth, inshallah, this is something you're going to experience once you grow up. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. This, I'm coming back to the ayah. The ayah means the same thing for both, like I said, for males and for females. When I am tired, and I am, and I work, and I come home, I need someone to basically takes away the weight off of my shoulder. You come home, and if you are single by yourself, and anybody, Allah Sa'ad al-Shabab al-Azzab, you come home, and you're not, you're working all day long. You walk into the apartment and nobody's inside. Nobody's there to greet you. Nobody's there to tell you Allah Sa'adak. Nobody to say anything. And not just that, you have to go in. Wallah ya'in al-shabab aishin ala al-biyad wa simat al-gali. This is something that I saw with my own life, with my own eyes. Eggs and fried fish. This is the best they can, because this is the fastest thing that they can make. But I'm not that I'm saying that the females they're best, they're only good at cooking. Wal-'iyadhu billah. This is absolutely not what I meant. But this is the normal, that men work and men produce, and females are at home protecting the family, raising the family, much like we were talking about last night. So this is the calm. When you come home as a male, and inshallah in the future, if things change, and the female, you get to marry a doctor. Your wife happens to be a doctor, and you're not a high-paying, employee, and you come home. When your wife comes home, it's the same concept. At least she has someone to say salam alaikum to. You look at her, you say Allah yasa'dik. Same thing, same concept. But because majority males work and females don't, that's why I use the example of the males. And not just the fact that Allah uses that example it is being married is a point of being calm. Allah puts and yazra wa ja'ala bainakum. Allah puts this thing, the minute, usually when people get married, this is something. And I'm not talking about the American marriage. I'm talking about typical Middle Eastern kind of marriage. People barely know each other. They get married, and mashallah, you see between them. This is something that Allah talks about. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً, love. Allah, instantly you see these people caring for each other. مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. And you get to start caring, and you have this mercy in you. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. This is part of the ayat for anybody that uses their brain and do tafkir. So now that we are on the subject of zawaj and the subject of marriage, like I said, I've lived here and I've grown here, and I see a lot of young guys, mashallah. There are some people that I was telling Sheikh Al-Fadl last night. There's a guy about 16 years old. I believe he's about 16 years old. Lives in the state of Washington, in the city of Everett. He fasts every Monday and Thursday at the age of 16. He does salah, he does listen to Quran all the time, and he is basically my right arm. Personally, he's my right arm. If I ever need anything from the shabab, from the youth, I call him up and I tell him, hey, I need your help, and mashallah, he does everything. The only thing is, sometimes we have this conversation. The youth wants to get married. And we talk about this. What are the obstacles that the youth are facing? Why is it that the shabab, not using the proper terminologies and not using proper things? We say, we take our leadership from Ahlul Bayt, salamullahi alayhim, and we take our leadership from Sayyid al-Zahra and Imam al-Hussein, and al-Asaf al-Shadid, a lot of people, inshallah none here, but a lot of people have misused it. To come back to the main event, and I have little time and I don't want to take much of the time because the program has got to go, or has to continue. The fact that what you guys see here, the candles, the bukhur, the incense, all of this, what is this decoration? Alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If someone knew absolutely nothing about Karbala, if someone knew absolutely nothing about Karbala, and they walked in today and they saw this, of course they're going to ask, what are you guys doing? We're going to tell them we're mourning. We are at the state of mourning, at the state of huzn. We are mourning the loss of our imam. Like, okay. And that explains why you guys are wearing black, and we say yes. They say, what is this? We say, oh, there was a wedding in the middle of the battlefield. They're going to say, are you crazy? Yeah, no, seriously, are you serious? A marriage and wedding in the middle of a battlefield? Who gets married when there is battlefield? The whole, like I said, I'm running way much out of my time. The whole concept behind this is Al-Imam Al-Hasan Salamullah alayhi, before he departed this world, he left his wife pregnant. Either Al-Qasim Salamullah alayhi, he was either born and only 6 months old, or he was in his mother's womb and he was 6 months So he's got 3 months to go. So he either saw Imam al-Hassan, he was only 6 months old, or he was not even born when Imam al-Hassan departed. When it comes to Karbala, he was probably either 10 and a half or 11 years old. It doesn't fall. It's either or. It doesn't go any further than that. The whole concept is, I believe he was his mother's only child. Okay? And this was something that she was hoping, every mother, Sa'adallah qulub al-ummat, any mother that has lost his child, Allah sa'ad them. Okay? Every mother that loses a child, this is one thing, especially in Iraq. This is something that they do. They go to their grave, they prepare what they call the wedding, somewhat of fictional, non-true, some fictional story to, basically to remember this young, lost human being. And the other side of the story, who is the wife? If we were to say that there was a marriage, who was the wife? The wife is, a lot of people say it's Sayyida Sukaina, or according to Sayyid al-Shaheed al-Thani, rahmatullah ala ruhi al-Tahira, he calls her Sakina. Quran calls Sakina, and it's very meaningful to say Sakina. So he says it's Sayyida Sakina. Some narrations say Sayyida Sukaina or Sayyida Sakina was married when she came to Karbala, and that's why when Imam Hussein salamullahi alayhi went to say his last goodbye to the ladies, he asked, where is Sukaina? They said Sukaina is in her tent. He walks into the tent of Sayyida Sukaina and he's like, Subhanallah, لَقَدْ غَلَبَ عَلَيْهَا كِثْرَةِ التَّعَبُّدْ فِي اللَّهِ. She is thinking way too much in Allah. And she's an older woman, and if she's old and she's married, there's no way that an 11-year-old would marry a woman who's already married. There's no question about it, whether he's 11 or any age. If she's married, this is one narration, so that's out of the question. Another narration says Sayyida Sukaina was only 5 years old. And 5 years old, it's impossible. The reason, for any marriage, and the reason why I believe this narration is more of the correct narration, personal understanding. 2 instances when, like I said, when Imam Hussein said goodbye to the family and he went and saw Sayyida Sukaina in her room, he didn't bother her. He rode his horse and he left. As he was leaving, she came crying. You guys all know this story. She came crying and she ran after him and she said, Father, please wait for me. And when he waited for her, out of respect to his 5-year-old, and she asked him to please come off your horse, when he sat on the ground, she asked him to basically give her the last hug and have her sit in his lap and wipe over her head, right? She told him, do that just like you do to the aitam. If we have a 5-year-old, marriage doesn't work. So the whole concept, inshallah, I got to the point. The whole concept of this, it's not that there is an actual marriage that happened. It is something that the mother of Al-Qasim salamullahi alayhi, she wanted to do, but she never got the chance to do. Therefore, we're only doing it because she couldn't do it. Out of love, out of respect for her, and out of love to Ahlul Bayt salamullahi alayhim, and out of the sacrifice that they gave forth for us all, this is what we do. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ورحم الله من يقرأ سورة الفاتحة تسبقها الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.